Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the Houston Texans 2018 NFL Draft Class based on analytics. And in this video, we're going to go through every single pick the Texans selected, looking at them through the eyes of production and athleticism data over the course of many draft classes. If you're new to the channel and new to the work that I do, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So if you don't know what a explicit lower body strength score is, speed score, or flexibility score, then you can kind of get all that information there. If you want more information about the players, you could just leave a comment section below, leave a comment below asking about certain different aspects of the data and the other sort of stuff. And with all the stuff out of the way, let's get to the first pick of the draft, which of course is Justin Reid, defensive safety out of Stanford. When you look at his production data, he had a 76.82 solo tackle score, 85.86 interception score, and a 75.79 pass deflection score. Pretty much hits all the sort of thresholds you're looking for in terms of Pro Bowl potential at the safety position. When you look at the averages at the position, he looks a little closer to the starter average and the Pro Bowl average, but still pretty strong overall profile when you look at it in terms of his production data, and when you look at his athleticism traits. 82.98 in terms of explosiveness, 95.84 in terms of speed, and 96.76 in terms of flexibility. Essentially has all-pro level athleticism with Pro Bowl level production. I think there's a very good shot that Justin Reid hits those Pro Bowl benchmarks, but we'll ultimately see. But definitely a pretty solid pick for a day 2 selection, excuse me. Then of course you get to Martinez Rankin, offensive lineman out of Mississippi State. When you look at his production, or not production data, but athleticism data, he had a 75.75 explosive lower body strength score, which pretty much hits the all-pro threshold and Pro Bowl threshold at the position. Don't really have a speed score or flexibility score for him to kind of determine much else, but definitely has pretty good explosiveness for his size. Then, of course, you get to Jordan Akins, tight end out of Central Florida. When you look at his production data, he had a 53.73 market share production score. Doesn't hit the all-pro threshold, but does hit at least above the Pro Bowl threshold. When you look at the averages at the position, not near the all-pro average, Pro Bowl average, or starter average, so there is some question marks here in terms of his production data. And when you look at his athleticism data, he only had an 83.95 explicit lower body strength score, 15.20 speed score, and 36.65 flexibility score. Very good explosion traits, not very good speed or flexibility traits. Could potentially become a starting sort of H-back tight end type, but that's kind of best case scenario with him. Then of course we get to Keke Coutee, wide receiver out of Texas Tech. When you look at his production data, he had a 75.22 passing yards market share production score, which doesn't hit the 5-time All-Pro or 3-time All-Pro threshold, but does hit at least above the 3-time Pro Bowl threshold and long-term starter threshold at the position. Does hit close to the starter average of 81.45 out of 100. Doesn't really hit near the Pro Bowl average or All-Pro average, but definitely has starter potential. When you look at the athleticism testing, he had a 14.05 explicit lower body strength score, 58.25 speed score, and 55.92 flexibility score. When it comes to wide receivers since the 1999 NFL Draft Class, each vast majority of multiple All-Pro / Pro Bowl wide receivers had at least a 54 or higher athleticism trait. When it comes to Keke, he has 2 in speed and flexibility. So I do think there's a chance that Keke could become a Pro Bowl player. Most likely just a starter, but definitely a pretty solid all-around profile. Then, of course, you get to Juke Geofor, edge out of Wake Forest. When you get to his production data, he had a 50.93 solo tackle score, 70.50 sack score, and 77.88 tackle for loss score. Doesn't quite hit the All-Pro or Pro Bowl thresholds when it comes to solo tackle data, but definitely has good sack and TFL data. No athleticism testing to really determine much else with him. He's also a little bit older as well, but definitely has a chance to become a long-term starter to rotational player. And of course, you get to Jordan Thomas, tight end on Mississippi State. I did a video in the past on Thomas where there was some issues with that. The data for Thomas was Ian Thomas's data, not Jordan Thomas's data. So there was kind of an issue, a mix-up at the combine. I edited and kind of fixed that information, but if some of you guys are confused as to why the data here looks different from the video, which was taken down, this is why. Is because Ian Thomas's data was unfortunately Jordan Thomas's data when the algorithm ran all the information. So I fixed all that stuff was fixed months ago, but I just, for whatever reason, I forgot that the video was still up, and that was a video that actually kind of blew up. So unfortunately, all the information that was in that video is not very accurate. But this is the actual accuracy here. 46.85 in terms of passing yards market share, so not great production. Definitely not near the averages at the position of in terms of all-pro potential, Pro Bowl potential, and starter potential. In terms of athleticism data, he does not have all-pro/Pro Bowl athleticism traits. 13.68 is his explosion, 74.61 in speed, and 19.10 in terms of flexibility. And again, does not have all-pro/Pro Bowl athleticism traits. Most likely can become a starter, yes, but very raw player, and plugging his data in at wide receiver is not going to make things look much better. I know some people have asked that question, did you plug him in versus wide receivers? Wide receivers are typically much more productive in terms of market share than tight ends, so putting his data with the wide receivers just makes things look worse, so don't do that. Then we get to the next player, Peter Callum, edge out of Stanford. When you get to his production data at 87.51 solo tackle score, 23.80 sack score, and 40.81 tackle for loss score. Doesn't have all-pro or Pro Bowl potential because of his sack and TFL data, but does have very good solo tackle data and decent athleticism traits. 60.79 in terms of explosiveness, 93.10 in terms of speed, and 81.52 in terms of flexibility. Definitely has all-pro potential based on his athleticism traits, but just doesn't have the production to match that. I think in many ways you're looking at a guy that you hope becomes an outlier, but most likely just becomes a long-term starter because of his lack of production. Then of course you get to Jermaine Kelly, cornerback out of San Jose State. When you look at his production data, he had a 39.61 solo tackle score and an 87.22 pass deflection score. Biggest issue is his solo tackle data. Just doesn't quite hit the areas he needs to hit in terms of bottom and threshold for all-pro potential, but does have good pass deflection data. This just looks like most of the cornerbacks in this draft class. Great pass deflection data, bad solo tackle data. I think a lot of NFL decision makers are just looking at pass deflection data and not looking at solo tackle data, and I think they're missing the big picture here when you look at the averages of the position. Both data points matter. Solo tackle matters, pass deflection matters. But bottom line is Jermaine Kelly does have good pass deflection data. When you look at his athleticism traits, that's sort of the bigger concern. 49.90 in terms of explosiveness, 46.72 in terms of speed, and only 12.49 in terms of flexibility for his size. Doesn't have starter potential because the lowest flexibility score for a starting cornerback is 27.36, and he only has a 12.49, so there's never been a long-term starting cornerback with his athleticism traits. We'll see what happens, but ultimately he looks more like a backup to practice squad player. So overall, when you look at the Houston Texans draft class, I do like this class. I do think they got a lot of quality here. Justin Reid, I think, has a good chance to become a long-term starting safety or better. Keke from Texas Tech has a good chance to become a long-term starting wide receiver or better. Martinez Rankin definitely has a good shot to become a starter. Keke, good rotational guy. Peter Callum, good rotational guy. The tight ends they selected are just kind of weak in terms of their production profile and their athleticism profile, especially when it comes to Jordan Thomas. And Jermaine Kelly just doesn't really look like a starter. But overall, not a terrible draft class, especially with the fact that you didn't have a first-round or a second-round pick. But definitely could have done a little bit better in terms of day 3 if you look at other draft classes. And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification button so that you're always reminded when another video of mine drops. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace!